Hello and welcome to the Alexandra Wenman show during lockdown. And I'm here with Emma Mumford, spiritual queen, whose latest book is called Positively Wealthy. And I'm so happy to have you on the show, Emma. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to chat with you again.
I know, because we've recently spoke on your show and now you've come on mine, which is amazing. So can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, how you became the spiritual queen? What led you to this journey?
Cool. So yeah, it's about a 7-year process, if I'm honest. So back in 2012, I was working as a banker at the time in a well-known UK bank, and I was depressed as hell. I was so miserable, and I'd always had very like customer service based roles, and I really enjoyed working with people and interacting with the public, and like I had my little regular customers and stuff. So I really loved that part of my job and all of the jobs I had, but ultimately working in the bank was really depressing me because I had to put people in debt, and it just felt so wrong to have to push things on people and things which can be really negative. Sometimes banking can be positive, but also it can, there's a I think a bad energy with it is what I would say. Like, it really wasn't fulfilling me as such. So in 2012, I left my job at the bank because I was just so depressed. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't leave the house. Like, my anxiety was just at an all-time high. And at the time I was in a really bad relationship as well, where I just wasn't happy and neither of us would leave. So it was just more like platonic friends as such. And I was just miserable. So that ex left me in £7,000 worth of debt when we did split up. And obviously at the age of 20, it was just crippling for me to think, how am I going to clear £7,000 worth of debt, which isn't even my own, on a part-time wage, because I'd gone into retail at that point. So for me, I had to really get creative and think, right, this is my situation. What am I going to do with this? So at the tender age of 20, I was already sort of like on this path of like, right, how can I turn this situation around without even being spiritual whatsoever? So I was very much an atheist at that point. Like, I'd been raised Christian, not religiously, but very much loosely throughout my whole life, and it was never something that was forced upon me. And I think in my kind of 18 to kind of 20-year-old stage, I definitely was an atheist, because I thought, why would a God make me feel like this? Why would I be so unhappy if there was a God? Why is there so much pain and suffering in the world? So I very much didn't have any faith at that point. So I went on TLC one day and saw the show Extreme Couponing, and I was like, hang on a minute, this looks really cool. How is everybody getting all of these groceries and products for near enough free? Like, if I could do this, this would really help me to save money and get out of debt. So it kind of came like a big focus for me. And I think it really helped my mental health as well, to like focus on something, to learn a new skill. And I really, really enjoyed it. And at that time, there wasn't really anybody in the UK doing extreme couponing. It was very, very, very hush. But companies did have coupons, but no one really knew about them. So there was a couple of people who did it. And I kind of just like followed that, found my own sort of coupons. And then within a month or two, my friends were like, Emma, you really need to share this with the world. Like, you have a whole spare room full of like a stockpile. Like, you really need to share this with people. And I thought, well, who am I? I'm just Emma from Dorset, who's good. We've got Martin Lewis, we've got money saving experts. Why would anybody want to listen to me? So after some much like persuasion from my friends, I started up a Facebook page which was called Extreme Couponing and Deals UK, and very, very quickly it just took off. I mean, within half a year it had about 100,000 followers. The press were getting involved, like wanting to do stories and articles with me. I was presenting on This Morning with Holly and Phil, and it was just really surreal that it took off so quickly and so well and helped so many people. And it really brought me so much joy to help people. So the press nicknamed me Coupon Queen, which is where the Queen came from. So that was kind of like my brand and my title through that business. And then in 2016, I had a spiritual awakening with the second ex-boyfriend. There's a bit of a theme with men here. With my
Bless those men. They always lead us onto our path, don't they?
Oh my God, tell me about it. So yeah, with the second ex, I had my spiritual awakening. And at that point, although I had this really successful business, on paper, my life looked great. I was in a flat with the boyfriend. I had this, incredibly successful business. I was going on This Morning, doing all these cool things. And I was just so depressed still. That depression had definitely lasted subtly and like coming in waves over that period between the boyfriends. And at that point, in 2016, I was pretty much suicidal. I was like, I need to do something. Like, I'm either going to kill myself or I'm going to have to do something to change this. And no matter what I had in my life, I just couldn't be happy. So I found out the ex was cheating, and obviously that relationship broke up. And I thought, God, this is like the end of the world here. Even though I had this like amazing business that was holding and supporting me and probably keeping me here, if I'm honest. And I just remember like looking out of the window at 2 a.m. at night and saying like, God help me. And I hadn't used the word God in so many years. And it was like at that moment, my soul was just like, stop fighting this. Like, remember who you are. Remember what you know. Like, this is your awakening as such. So I always describe it as a remembering rather than learning something.
It's like an instant turning point, though, isn't it? Those moments when you're basically on your knees, you can't go any more rock bottom.
Yeah.
It's that rising point. It's so inspiring, actually. You know, when you kind of, it's like you've taken, it's like you've listened, haven't you? You're like, why am I here? Okay, I need help. I think we try to battle through things a lot on our own, and then we suddenly realize there is a whole lot of help around us behind the scenes. So what happened after that moment, that pivotal moment?
So the help did come in within 5 days. I remember like going on Google, sorry, and just typing in how to turn a negative situation into a positive. And I don't know where that came from. And this woman came up and I thought, oh, watch this. And she was called Louise Hay. And obviously I had no idea who this woman was. And she was talking about all this wonderful positivity and something called the law of attraction. And I was like, oh, what's this? Is this something to do with love and attracting somebody? Like, what is this? So I kind of just put a status out on my Facebook saying, does anyone know what the law of attraction is? Has anyone got any book recommendations? And one of my old school friends, who actually were like best friends again now, and I'm actually godmum to her little daughter, so it's weird how the universe brought us back together through that little book recommendation. She said, yeah, read The Secret, have a look at The Secret, I love all this stuff. So I watched The Secret on Netflix, and the rest is history, really. Again, while I was watching that, it was like I knew this in my soul. It just made sense. It clicked for the first time in my life, where it just made sense. I didn't have to question it. It just really resonated with me. So at that point, I was kind of separating my brands anyway to have more of like a lifestyle Emma brand and then my extreme couponing brand. So in 2017 really, I decided to sell my extreme couponing business. I thought I really want to do like, you know, this spiritual lifestyle brand more. I didn't know that it would be this at that point, but I just knew that that's the direction I wanted to move in. So I looked for a buyer. I manifested the buyer for my couponing business and sold that at the end of 2018, which was just, you know, amazing that could now go and flourish with a team of people, because I'd outgrown it. It had outgrown me as well. It got so big. So it's great that I have, you know, those roots there as such, which have got me to this place. And then obviously I rebranded into Spiritual Queen, and the universe was just like, right, now you got to get to work. Write some books, do some coaching, do all of this. And yeah, it's amazing how the journey's unfolded. And it's interesting now with my second book, how the money theme, it's really funny. The psychic we had at my Spiritual Queen book launch, she said, Emma, your next book's going to be about money. And I was like, no, it's not. I'm done. I'm past with that. No, it's not. You know, I don't want to talk about couponing. And she said, no, you need to realize that work is just as important now with your spiritual work. And lo and behold, she was right. I wrote the book.
I love it, Emma. I always say that, you know, everything we kind of do in our lives, there's no mistake. They're always stepping stones leading you exactly to where you need to be, aren't they? So it's almost like your whole background in banking and couponing and all of that, it's almost like your soul knew that there was something bigger that you were going to do with all of this. And look at the timing. I think that it's incredible, the timing of this interview and where everybody is sitting on the planet right now. I think maybe we just dive straight into this, because I think it's really important that we have new systems in place in terms of wealth and manifestation and survival and support and these kinds of things, because all of our systems look like they're crumbling around us, and many people are struggling, we know, with financial difficulties, health issues as well, and we don't want to mention the dreaded C word that's happening, but it is happening. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the processes and the wisdom that you're bringing through in your book and in your teachings that can help people, especially at this time with so much uncertainty around?
Definitely. So my approach to money is very grounded from my couponing days, from my banking days. So I think that's what's really helped me to have a positive relationship with money. You know, throughout the debt, throughout everything, I've always had a really good relationship with money. And it took people to say to me, Emma, you realize that, you know, that is quite rare in the spiritual community. There is that kind of like, you know, is money greed? Is it bad? Do I want it? And especially with spiritual entrepreneurs as well, they kind of have that worth. Am I worth this money? Should I charge for, you know, the services and gifts that I have? So this was just a big conversation that got opened up, and I thought, actually, I do need to write about this, and not a sense of just having a positive relationship with money, but wealth was something that really got highlighted for me. So with both of my books, these were such personal journeys and awakenings that I had myself, and those books were birthed from that. So when I sold my business in 2018, that was the last thing on my vision board. I had manifested everything: the dream house, the dream guy, the book deal, everything I'd wanted, I'd manifested. And the selling the business was the last thing. And I thought, right, when this money hits my bank account, you know, that's it. You've made it. You can sit back, you can relax, like, you've done it, girl. And when that money hit my bank account, I felt no different. And I thought, this is bad. Like, of course I'm grateful for it. Like, oh boy, I was grateful for it. But there was a feeling inside of me of like, you thought that would have completed you, and it didn't. And there's something there to be looked at. So this sparked a whole inner journey, once again, another awakening of what is my version of wealth. And that I thought my version of wealth was very much, you know, conventional 3D of, you know, validation, books, money, successful businesses, all of this. And really, I was chasing the wrong version of wealth. Those things brought me joy, and oh my God, they still do. I love what I do. But equally, my version of wealth, I realized, was to have a family, to have, you know, an amazing personal life where I can have that work-life balance. And all I was doing was putting all my energy into my work, meaning that my friendships, relationships, you know, they're in a pretty like bad state, if I'm honest, because that energy was all directed towards my work, and I wasn't investing it into what my real version of wealth was, and where I wanted that personal balance of like having a family, settling down, etc. So for me, it was like a big aha moment of what is our version of wealth. And also what I really found from working with my clients is that a lot of people chase the wrong version of wealth, whether it's like me and you think that, you know, you should be chasing book deals and successful businesses, etc., etc. Or actually, even if they do have a business and they have their own goals and that is their genuine version of wealth, they feel they have to write the book. They feel they have to do that thing because everybody else is doing it. So again, you know, like my big question to everyone would be like, really look at your goals and manifestations here. Are they your true version of wealth right now? Or are you trying to manifest that because you think you should? You think that's the right thing to do because everyone else is doing it? So again, it's kind of taking yourself out of that comparison trap and thinking like, is this my true version of wealth? And the book explores many themes. You know, having a positive relationship with money is one, and a really good tip that I'm saying at the moment is to mindfully spend. So mindful spending is something that I created for my couponing days, but kind of put a spiritual turn on it now, because obviously we need the spirituality manifestation style of it. So with mindful spending, it's a bit like a self-care practice as well. It's only spending money when it feels good to. So if you go into a shop, or if you're in lockdown and you go online and you're like, oh, I just really want that jumper, I really want that book, whatever it is, look at it. Is it, you know, hold it if you can for 3 seconds, or look at it for 3 seconds. Is that item going to bring you joy, or are you just buying it because you're bored? So, you know, ask yourself, is this going to bring me joy? And if it is, buy it. If not, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Just wait a bit. Wait until it's the right time to buy it. Wait until maybe you get paid, or wait until, you know, just a better time where it's better for you to purchase that item. So practice mindful spending, definitely. And again, set the intentions with money. Look how you can be creative and resourceful with money right now. There's so many ways that you can. And, you know, it's great to want to manifest money as well. But with all of our manifestations in this period of time where there's so much uncertainty, think about how you can use your manifestation powers for the highest good. So how you can help the collective, how you can help, you know, obviously see yourself healthy, your loved ones healthy, and the collective healthy. See Mother Earth healing as well. Like, this is such an amazing talent that we have to be able to call things into our existence. And right now, if it feels good to focus on your personal manifestations, absolutely do. But probably, like me and like most people, you're kind of feeling maybe a bit fearful. You're like, what's going on? So really, is your vibration in the right place to be manifesting your dream life? You know, it's perfectly okay to put the vision board down for a while and just what I'm really saying with this is it's a really good time to refocus and realign with everything, because I've had it myself where I've had literally my spirit guides be like, Emma, you need to look at that manifestation, like realign with it. Is it still what you want? Do you need to get more clear on it? Because it's obviously been in the pipeline for a while. So this is a great opportunity to put the tools down, put the manifestation boards down and vision boards and boxes and lists, whatever you've got, and just sit with yourself, go within, you know, look after yourself, make sure you're looking after your self-care and things, and then use this time to realign and refocus, and use this time to think, right, how can I use my manifestation abilities for the highest good and help myself and the collective? And also, when it's time to pick up that vision board again, and you'll know intuitively, or it may be once we come out of this, you'll think, right, I've got this new sense of awareness. I know I've got, you know, a clear direction of how to move forward now. So don't see it as a setback. See it as actually the universe is aligning you to it even more by giving you this time to get really clear, to have time to reevaluate things and refocus. You know, it's not delayed. This was always meant to happen. You know, your manifestations, there's always divine timing.
I love it, Emma. You're such an inspiration. I know that at the moment, a lot of people are probably trying to find the balance between being fearful and trying to hold on to their money because they're not sure what's going to happen. And like you said, like, what are the motives behind spending it? It's interesting. Like, I'm going through a whole personal reset around this, and I love talking to you at this time because I'm usually a shocker for going out and buying like a pretty dress or something that makes me feel joyful. But often, you know, I've been through a whole process with this myself, and I help a lot of clients through this stuff as well, where, you know, is your motive, you know, does it bring you joy, or is it masking a deeper sadness underneath? And I realized a couple of years ago that it was, whoa, when I'm sad, or if I feel like there's a sadness coming up, I'll go shopping to take my mind off it. You know, it becomes like a bit of a crutch, doesn't it? So it's about finding the balance, I think, and being mindful rather than fearful. And I think that's such a great approach to it all. It's wonderful. So in terms of advice as to what people kind of should be doing around this time, like their mindset, is there something that could kind of put people's minds at ease, because we're in such a time of uncertainty? So how are you navigating this time on a personal level?
Yeah, no, I think all of us will have like unique ways that we can do that. But for me, I'm definitely a controller. Like, before I read Gabby Bernstein's The Universe Has Your Back, if you're a controller like me, read that book. It will change your life. I don't think I'd ever let go or surrendered in my life. I'm a Virgo, so it's like in my DNA to be like, right, what's going to happen? What's the outcome? I don't want any uncertainty. I need to know everything now. I don't like surprises. So for me, you know, this is just another reminder of like, the universe's timing is better than yours. The universe's plans, it knows what it's doing. And sometimes even with manifestation, again, by putting that vision board down right now and focusing on yourself, focusing on what's happening right now and looking after yourself can actually help you let go and surrender unintentionally. It will just happen. And you can find that maybe your manifestations might come quicker during this time because your focus is elsewhere. Your focus is on, you know, being in the present moment. So for me personally, I'm definitely, you know, making sure I'm doing very grounding practices, pulling myself back into the present moment, taking it day by day, meditating when I feel called to, and, you know, even using manifestation to help myself right now. So better thought feeling, that's all it is. It's so easy to do, where you can just wake up, do your gratitude list, and gratitude is so important right now to really, you know, ground us into the present moment, and also to count the many blessings that we do have right now. You know, this is a great time for our blessings to be reflected to us. as, having a roof over our heads, having food in our cupboards, being safe and well. Like, we are more blessed than we think to be in lockdown. There's lots of people around the world who won't be safe during this lockdown. So there's so much to be grateful for. And once you've done that, you can then manifest the day ahead. Like, the one thing you are in control of is your emotions and how you feel. You choose how you feel at any time. So you can manifest better thought, feeling, and think, do you know what, how do I want to feel today? And then take your inspired action, whether that's doing some exercise, whether that's doing some art with your kids, whether that's watching Netflix. That can be productive sometimes, not all day, but sometimes.
It can.
We all need to rest every now and again. So tune into your heart space, tune into what you feel called to do right now, because that will always be the right answer. And I think there's a lot of pressure to achieve things during this time. I've seen lots of posts saying that, like, Shakespeare wrote King Lear through the Black Plague, and it's like, God, don't put that pressure on us. Like, we have to write award-winning plays and things. And I think everyone just feels that pressure of like, oh my God, I must achieve something during this time. I must manifest all my dreams. And it's like, this is not a time for doing that. This is a time for slowing down, going inwards, going into that feminine energy, so that we can have that outer summer masculine energy, which is the manifesting energy. So we live in a world of polarities, we live in a world of seasons, and every season is important, like, to help the other season flourish and for us to be happy in all seasons. So don't see this as a setback or a time where you have to achieve things. Like, focus on yourself, choose your mood, choose what you want to feel that day, and take that inspired action to do positive things that will help you. But equally, if you don't feel like writing the book, if you don't feel like starting that business, you don't have to. Like, divine timing, whatever you're meant to do during this time will always happen.
It's the follow the feeling, isn't it? I totally agree. I find it really interesting as well, and listening to you and the journey that you've been on, and obviously we've talked that we have quite a lot in common, that we've both been through that big life collapse and had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. I think there's quite a lot of spiritual teachers on the planet at the moment that have sort of been doing their work, a lot of this behind the scenes, some of us kind of stepping out more, but it's almost like a lot of us have been prepped for this time because we've already been through it, and some of us numerous times, those rug pulling moments. Now suddenly we've got the whole globe being kind of having the rug pulled out from under us in a way. But like you say, it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. A reset is exactly what I think humanity needs at this time. And we just don't know, like, getting comfortable with the unknown is probably one of the biggest themes I know I faced when I went through my, I call it the wilderness zone, when even my manifesting wasn't working. So what would you say to people who have kind of tried all the law of attraction stuff and their manifesting's not working, and they feel all at sea and they don't really know what to do? Like, that surrender, it's like they're surrendering, but then they have to keep surrendering. What advice would you give someone that's going through that big kind of wilderness zone, loss, collapse?
And like you said, it's so right. We go through multiples, and I know that I have definitely had two big awakenings since 2016, and probably more mini awakenings I'm not even aware of. And like how you describe it, the wilderness zone, is so correct, because my manifesting wasn't even working during my second awakening. And it was frustrating because my work life was so fantastic and I was manifesting, and it was like, universe, what's going on here? Like, you're giving me all this work stuff, but I don't want to focus on work. I want to focus on my personal life. So I had to really surrender. And one thing which I really learned from Gabby's book, The Universe Has Your Back, that book I mentioned, was when you think you've surrendered, surrender more. And when I read that, I was like, I am surrendering. What more can I do? And it is a constant practice you have to lean into. Like, you have to check in with yourself regularly. Like, even I've had to do that recently, and I thought, I'm so surrendered, I'm so let go. And I was like, no, you're not. You're sat there checking up on your manifestation. You're not surrendered at all. So really, you have to check in with yourself regularly. And there can be many reasons maybe why it's not turning up. Divine timing, you have to become that energetic match to your manifestation. So envision yourself as the person who has that manifestation. Do you feel you're her right now? Do you feel you're him? Like, tune in. Do you feel like you're the person who is, let's take money, for example. If you had manifested the money you wanted, You would be calm, you'd be relaxed, you'd be grateful, you wouldn't be focusing on it, you would just be living your life and having fun. So are you that person right now? And that's what I would really say, like really tune into the person who has that manifestation, because when you can, you know, feel like, okay, I need to be relaxed, I need to be not thinking about it. And I always say, try and distract yourself with something else, like, you know, focus on another manifestation, just put it down and become okay with both outcomes. This is a real key part with surrendering, which can feel really alien, because a lot of law of attraction teachings say you must focus on plan A, nothing else. If you focus on plan B, you're a failure. And it's so not true.
That's very rigid, isn't it? I
Yeah.
come more from the fluid feminine approach, really. I'm the same as you.
Definitely, it's just not true. And this is such a big block that I experienced early on in my manifesting journey, because I was like, well, I must not think of plan B, must not think negatively, must not think bad thoughts, otherwise bad things happen. And it just doesn't work like that. The universe is so much more complex. Like, you need to feel your emotions, you need to feel what you need to feel and experience that. And, you know, if that is letting it go and surrendering right now, that's fine. And, you know, you need to become okay with both outcomes of it happening and it not happening. So if the not happening scares you, that's where the work needs to be done. So ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen here? What's the worst thing that could happen if it didn't happen? And what's your plan B? And when you can address and become at peace with your plan B, knowing that, you know, you're going to survive, it's going to be okay, it's not the end of the world, your ego will instantly be silenced. It can't argue with that. And really that resistance is the ego piping up, saying like, well, this could happen and this could happen. So really work with your ego. Don't bash it. Love your ego and talk to it. You know, have those positive conversations where you say, you know, it's okay, like I've got us, you know, this is what we could do as a plan B. It's okay, you know, we can be okay with it. So it's not saying that you don't believe plan A. You still hold that vision, you still hold that certainty and faith and hope and trust, of course. But it's also saying, if that wasn't to happen, if the universe has a better plan, then that's okay too. So really move into that. And also, what, you know, a big step of I believe there's 5 steps to the law of attraction, which I wrote in Spiritual Queen. And the second step is the traditional step of belief. And really what, you know, manifesting is not just sitting on the couch waiting for, you know, the universe to knock at the door and say, here's your manifestation. You know, you've got to take inspired action towards it. And also you have to remove the blocks that stand between you and your manifestation. So with money, do you have any resistance there? Are there any old stories or negative beliefs that you have? You know, you've got to do that inner work as well to clear the way for the abundance to come to you.
I love it. I love it. And what's your overarching view of what is going on the planet right now? I always love asking this of my guests. What is going on, in your opinion?
Oh, there's so many things, aren't there? And I try not to kind of go down the rabbit hole as much as possible, because I just think it would bring me more anxiety than it would relief as such. So for me, I feel what's happening is positive. I feel it's good. Whether it's New Earth, whether it's 5D, whatever it is, you know, I'm not educated in any of those. So I'm just, you know, I've got a few friends who are big conspiracy theorists, so I just see things they post. So I'm seeing all this stuff and I'm like, okay, yeah, that definitely would feel good. I feel that what it is positive. Like, I'm very knowing with my intuition and psychic abilities. I think it's claircognizance, isn't it? I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, clear feeling, isn't it? Yeah.
So for me, I know it's good, and I know that so many people are going to have aha moments of basically reprioritizing their lives, maybe having spiritual awakenings, maybe even just looking at their priorities and thinking like, right, everything changes now. Like, so I think it is a wake-up call for many people, whether you're spiritual, whether you're not. But I think as well, we're transitioning into something, but who knows what that is? Who are we to question that right now? This is part of the surrendering process, not having to know the outcome, not having to know all the answers. It's sitting with it and saying, right, today is like Thursday. What can we do? What do we have in our control today? And flowing with it. You know, like, I'm sure you can agree, Alexandra, when we go through things in life, we never know why things happen straight away. Like, when I broke up with my exes, when I had those, you know, really terrible moments in my life of darkness, I didn't know this was awaiting me. I didn't know why those things had to happen. But, you know, the light always returns. You know, without the rain, there's no rainbow. So there always will be a higher purpose for this. But I just don't think we're meant to know right now.
I agree. I think that's getting comfortable with the unknown, releasing that control, and the power of trust and intention is amazing, isn't it? I mean, you and I have both gone through this and understand it, that sometimes you do just need to let go and trust. But when you, in my experience, when you hold the energy of almost neutrality, like step back and see it from a higher perspective, don't judge it, just trust in the highest outcome, all the messy stuff on the ground will sort of rearrange itself, and that's when I guess the rainbow comes out. You know, you get the best possible outcome, and you could never have seen it from where you were. Sometimes we just don't know, and I find that when you open to that trust, that's the bit that opens the door to the miracle. I don't know why I'm going through this. I don't know what's happening. If we focus on, oh God, this could be really frightening, or this could be really bad for the economy or whatever, then we almost add fuel to that fire. But if we sit back and we trust, I think that's really key. And I'm sure that's part of everything that comes through your manifestations and your teachings as well, because you have such this positive outlook, and having been through it all, you're such an inspiration, honey. It's brilliant. So how can people get hold of you? How can people find out more about your work?
Oh, thank you. Yes, so you can find me over on Instagram, Facebook, and all the social media platforms at I am Emma Mumford, and you can find me on my website as well at emmamumford.co.uk.
Amazing. And I'm not sure, like at the moment, is the book able to be purchased at the moment? I'm not sure what's happening. I think Amazon's not selling books or something, but obviously this video will be out for all time, so people will be able to get hold of it somehow through your website, can they?
Yes, so you can get it from Amazon. So if you're watching this pre-June the 9th, then you can get the ebook and audiobook on June the 9th when it's released, but the pre-order's up now. The paperback's been delayed because of obviously everything that's been going on, like every book publisher at the moment and author. So that's coming out on the 8th of September. And then we've also got the Positively Wealthy Journal, which is like a money journal, very focused on money, very grounding, practical money saving tips in there as well, which is coming out in December. So you can get it from Amazon or major bookstores, online, in stores. So yeah, you'll be able to find it.
Oh my God, the timing of this is amazing, because we so need, everyone's going to need it, really. You know, the being more aware of it. And you know, I guess some of the things that I was taught through my whole journey with money as well is not to see money as like bad or negative or the root of all evil. See it as just an energy, like it's just energy of exchange, isn't it? So bless your money and, you know, respect it as though, you know, and respect yourself. So I think that one of the big lessons in looking at your wealth is about knowing your worth, exactly as you said, isn't it? So if you understand, know your worth, be grateful for yourself, look at your own gifts, and then see the money as an energy exchange and a reflection of that, then it's beautiful. It's amazing. And I just want to point people to your website as well, because you have some really great tips and techniques and freebies on there too. So it's, you know, Emma's got this whole catalog of stuff on there that's full of guidance and wisdom, and there's also some cool products there. I've got my eye on some candles. It all looks really good. It's all very beautiful. So, you know, check out Emma's website and check out what she's doing. And thank you so much for joining me today, honey. That you're such an inspiration. I think it's such a timely chat, and you know, thank you as well as from woman to woman, for, you know, having the courage to step out and do what you do, you know, after you kind of went through it. I find it so inspiring to meet people walking their talk who are not just teaching this stuff but are embodying it, and you know, you are the epitome of that. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Amazing. And just to everyone watching, thank you for joining us on the Alexandra Wenman Show. Go and check out Emma. Please like or comment below. I love reading your comments, and any tips or you know, recommendations for people to interview would be amazing and welcome as well. And yeah, do keep us posted. And Emma, thank you so much for being here, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you, guys.